Perfect. Good to meet you.
It's nice to meet you. Thank you for accepting my invitation and accepting to be on my show.
Absolutely, it's an honor.
So I missed talking with you a few days back, and I got an opportunity to get again. And so I'm glad I thought to introduce and tell about you to my audience, the work that you're doing.
Sounds good, sounds good.
So can you please introduce yourself?
Yes, of course I can. My name is Egil Østhus. I'm currently working as the CEO of I must say, smallish company. We are delivering an open source feature management tool called Unleash. And we are currently expanding this service, both open source as well building this as a commercial offering on top of that. So we are based out of Norway, a bit colder compared to you guys, I guess. Unleash has been around since 2015, so it's a quite mature open source project. It is, I'm not sure if everybody is familiar with feature management or feature toggle, feature flags. It's sort of different names on the same thing. So basically what the tool do is that it supports developers that want to go to production to basically what we say decouple release to production from release to customers. So what we mean by that is that you are able to push new software to production like a SaaS service. When you do so, you can decide if this new feature that you have developed is something that is only available for yourself. If this is a feature that is only available for your colleagues in your company. Maybe this is something that you want to make available only for a small part of your end users. And the reason for why this makes sense is that testing of software is really hard. It's really cumbersome, right? And what you want to do, and some of the reasons why it's quite cumbersome and difficult is, of course, that production environment is almost never the same as the production. It's really hard to have a test environment that is the same as the production environment, right? So usually what you find is that you can test it to some, good extent, of course, but soon as you go to production, you always find some corner cases, some different kind of use cases maybe, or data that is in the production data. And this causes some issues that you didn't think about. And it's important for you to kind of find these issues as quickly as possible. And we see more and more software companies now pushing this into production. If you allow your colleagues to use this in your production environment, but only your colleagues, it doesn't really matter so much if there is an issue, right? If there is a bug, you get the feedback, you can fix it, you can update, and then you can move forward. So this is basically what we do. It's a quite interesting space, to be honest.
So you're from?
Sorry?
You're from?
So I am from Oslo, Norway, in the very northern part of Europe. I've lived here almost all of my life. I've been living a couple of years also in the US. I've been also living in different parts of Europe, but at the moment I'm living in Oslo, Norway.
Awesome. So you started this in 2015.
Yeah, it's actually my baby brother that started this project. So my little brother Ivar started this back in 2015. And the reason for why this project was created is that at the time he was a team lead or an architect on a team. And, they were very focused on DevOps. So they wanted to go to production at a very high speed. And when developers want to go high speed, I do, and then become kind of the business people. Let's call them the business people, sales, marketing, whatever. And instead of, well, this feature isn't ready, or it doesn't really fit our schedule, or the customer is not ready yet, so you need to wait. So, good engineers, if there is a problem, they fix it and they create a tool. So that was happened. So Ivo was creating this tool, using this internally with his company. It's the biggest classified company over here in Norway. And it started to grow quite popular. So over the year, it was kept like a side project, let's call it. It was developed, it was kind of improved, and it was gaining more and more popularity within the company. And after some time, more and more interest came across all over the world. So today we see, well, in late 2018, the number of stars on GitHub started to increase. Number of requests to the mail group on GitHub started to really increase. So this is when we decided, well, let's see if we can make something more than just an open source project out of this, and that's what we did. So today we have been working on this since 2019 together as a team. We are now more than 4,000 stars on GitHub. We have more than 5.7 million downloads. We know that this is being used all over the world. It's in India, it's in Brazil, it's in US, it's in Europe, it's Africa, all over. So it's quite interesting.
So how you're feeling now? Your product is everywhere, and a lot of people from different countries and different parts of the world are using your service. And this is 2021, which means 6 years. You have seen a lot of ups and downs. So how it is developed, and tell me about the people who worked in your company and how they worked, and how the things worked well in order to reach your service everywhere and become more productive.
Sure. No, it's a good question. I at the moment we are a team out of 6 people. So we have a product or development team. We actually release every Friday, so we think that is a cool thing. Every Friday we have a new release. So there's a new small feature coming on, usually a bit mid lunchtime later on Friday. So this is also why I have this T-shirt. I'm not sure if you can read it. It says I release on Fridays because I'm a badass developer. and because we really believe that this way of working makes ton of sense. So what we usually do, the developers coming together, they are saying, well, let's make sure we are having this frequent release, frequent feedback, put it out there, and get feedback. And when we release on a Friday, we start to release it into kind of our demo environment, maybe some early adapter customers, and we see issues. I mean, of course we see issues. We say we make bugs as everybody else, but it's really good to kind of find those early, and usually the bugs was not something we discovered necessarily in our QA process. So putting it out there, getting some real usage by real users, by real use cases, it makes tons of sense. So it's really strong developers. They are also working very, very close with developers basically all over the world. As an open source project, there is a lot of community or contributors, part of the community. Finding issues, finding improvement areas, talking to the team, maybe you should want to do this, or this way of configuring the service doesn't really fit, or maybe this is a nice feature, can we kind of either contribute and work on this together, or what do you guys think? So we try to be very open and let's say open-minded. I think that is a good word. One of the things that we have been very focused around is what kind of attitude do we look for when we work as a team. We really are looking for this sort of everybody has a saying, let's say. Everybody has an possibility to come and challenge. But we are really looking for people that is also open to have a conversation. We don't know exactly every time what is the best way forward. Our developers is also expected to discuss with the CTO of the company which one is the better, is it this way or the other. So I think we are very kind of trustful company, and I find us also quite experienced in how we believe is a good way to organize software development. So it's a quite experienced team, I must say. I'm not sure if that makes sense, but it's at least that's what we see.
Yeah, I got you. So, uh, what part of the world are using your service, and who are connecting with the product that you have released, and how the improvements that you did, and to in order to make people to use it more, and to 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 make the requirements to match with the requirements. So what are the improvements that you did, and what are the things that made people to use your service more?
Mm. Oh, very good question. I wish I knew everything in detail. No, so listen, being in an open source space is super interesting because you are having a great possibility to an extreme scale, meaning a lot of people using your product, but also you need to really prove yourself, right? I think the first part is we have been around for quite some time. We have also invested in our platform and our SDKs over many, many years. So it's super stable. It's reliant. It works. And it has proven itself from a performance and resilience point of view. So that's I think is like you need to have that. If you're just imagine if you wanna our SDKs, you need to put our SDKs into your production environment. So you need to put some of our code into your code, which is sort of really scary, to be honest. And I can just imagine that if you were to consider to put anybody else into your production environment, you need to be certain that this is something that really works. So it needs to work, and we have proven that. The second part that we have decided to do is we really want to make it easy to use and kind of a nice experience to use. So we have started to invest more in documentation, basically make it simple to understand. How do you get started? How do you kind of connect your first application? How do you kind of see that this is something that really makes sense to you? Because I think that it's fair to say software developers around the world, they are very, very smart and bright people. They don't want to mess around and waste a lot of time. So that puts another pressure on our side to kind of we really want to make it easy and also something that you want to do, right? If it's something that you want to do, because we are actually coming here and asking you to spend some of your valuable time using our products, because we believe that we will save you some time in the end. So we cannot waste your time in order to kind of get into see that this is true or not. So we are investing, and we will invest even more in tutorials, documentation, and these kind of things. And also we are very focused around testing. I mean, every Unleash open source user or any paying customer, we are very much reaching out and looking for, can we sit down, understand how you are using our tool, how you are, where is the friction points or the challenges or the improvement areas that would make it even better for you. And so we have invested a lot in this, call it the user experience, make it simple to use, make it attractive to use. And we really believe in this software developers meet other software developers, and they want to talk about the cool things they did. And we really want to make sure that we are one of those two cool things that they want to tell about. So for us, it's to make it look as good as possible, to really make it look good, really easy to use and really stable. So you trust it. You need to. We invest a lot of kind of trust in the tool. Let's say there cannot be any doubt that this is going to work, or this might. If you believe that this, or have a worry that this could cause you some issues in production, you will not trust us, and then we will have a bad and challenging position.
So as a software engineer, I have a lot of questions in my mind. Like you mentioned, user experience is one of the important factors which plays in the development phase. So how you managed to take the responses of the people and the feedbacks of the people and try to uh, uh, change the product better and make the product look more great. I'm sure in this time period you might have received a lot of feedback. So how you took that and how that helped you in developing your product?
Great question again. I love your questions there. It's a lot of work, to be honest. We have a dedicated person that is doing this full time. So we have a person, a designer, skilled in working with this kind of prototyping. There is many names of the process, but basically what we do, when we are delivering or starting to deliver a new feature, what we do is that we create a very early prototype. Before we have written any line of code, we have a prototype that is working out of kind of a wireframe or kind of a very simple mockup. And then we sit down with a handful of customers and we start to allow them to use this new feature and provide us with some feedback. So that is through either like an interview, or maybe that is also like I'm inviting you to a session and I'm asking you to, can you do this use case A, B, and C, and then I'm kind of observing what you're doing, and based on that, usually what you see is that you start to gather information because you cannot take all of the individual details, but you see that the details usually start fitting into kind of did it work or not? I mean, if everybody was confused, it's kind of a strong signal. You need to go back and do it again because it doesn't work. If everybody gets kind of an challenge or misunderstanding around doing a very small part of the flow that you want to do, you can focus on improving that and understanding why. And of course, it's also about gathering all of the data and make it into categories. Is it within this part of the application or that part of the application? So this is the active work that we do in session with our open source users of Unleash. The second part is we also have implemented multiple feedback mechanisms inside of the tools itself. So we politely ask you as a user, is it okay that you spend like a minute or so to provide us with some feedback? And so when you do, you are taken into sort of a very structured questionnaire that is built for this purpose. And what we're looking for is to get your feedback in a very structured way that we can also start to kind of take away some numbering or metrics, KPIs. Do you feel comfortable? Do you trust this tool? Is it easy to use? Do you want to recognize it to your friends and these kind of things? And of course, at the end, always an open comments, so you can share some comments to the team as well. So I think it's a mix of many practices, to be honest. Multiple of approaches, but we have a dedicated person that takes this responsibility, that is really skilled in this area, and is guiding our developers in what to build next.
That's great. So security plays a major role in developing a software. So tell me about security in Unleash.
Sorry, say again.
Tell me about security in Unleash.
Security. Yes. Security is always important. I think the first level is obviously open source, again, very transparent. Everyone has access to the source code, and there's nowhere to hide. So through the open source community, we get every now and then we get feedback. There seems to be an issue there. There seems to be an issue here. So either there is members of the community pointing out security issues, or they and also suggest a way to fix it, or we get an notification that this is something you need to look into. So that's one part. Another element of that is also how do you want to run this, and this is maybe something that is more important for larger enterprises. I know that there is some big users of Unleash in India, and from what we can see is they are deciding for multiple reasons to bring this back home to the private cloud, and this sounds maybe a bit counterintuitive, but we see that there are quite a rising number of larger corporations that want to bring some of their core services back home into private cloud. So we see more and more customers doing like a hybrid cloud. Some services is okay to run outside in, I don't know, AWS and whatever, Alibaba and these kind of stuff. And some stuff you want to bring back home and take into your own responsibility. And security is it's a huge picture. I mean, it's all the way down to the details of the vulnerabilities that you find in source code, all the way up to compliance. How do you kind of run the certifications? How do you kind of deploy your service? And Unleash is probably the biggest feature management today that is available for you to bring back home when and if you want to do so. And this makes a lot of sense to do so for a lot of companies, because through kind of container technology, scripting, infrastructure as code, the overhead to run these kind of services is much less than it was only a couple of years back. So I think that is also a fair kind of argument to, or at least some consideration that you want to do. Another element that is interesting, I'm not sure, to be honest, I need to be transparent and say my knowledge about the data privacy in India I'm not so sure about, but it's a big topic around most countries in the world. It's GDPR in EU, you have the California Act in US, you have similar acts in Australia, you have multiple of them in Africa as well. So data privacy starts to be higher and higher of let's say importance when you want to decide the tooling you're using. And this is important because data privacy or end user data is something that in many areas of the world is gaining more and more attention. And when you want to do feature management, you usually end up going into a space where end user data is sort of really important, because you want to use it for how you create your groups and cohorts. At the same time, is sort of you want to limit this exposure because of, again, concerns around data privacy. So we have developed and decided to implement an architecture that doesn't send any private data or end user data back to our environment. We have implemented an architecture where the configuration is pushed out to the SDKs or sent the SDKs hold the configuration, and everything that it happens on the feature management part happens, every magic happens in the SDK itself. And this makes a lot of sense when it comes to data privacy, because it means also when you as an kind of concerned developer or security officer or whatever security something in your organization, or when you're considering a tool, you can also see by the design that we have put together is that the data that you need to take care of and make sure you don't really lose, let's say, or have any kind of concern around, it never ever leaves your application. So you are in control of your application. You are in control of the data that you are in, you need for your purposes. But there is no concern that there is any data coming back to Unleash service. There is no concern that, there has been situations where there is a concern if the AWS maybe are requiring us, like Unleash, to kind of give away our data, private data. So we don't have it in a database, so it's not there, and it's not a concern. And then, of course, coming back to the capability of bringing it back home, if you are super concerned about data privacy, you can also bring it all the way back home to your private cloud and take away the entire conversation. So I think it's so many areas, and it's a big picture to paint.
So based on the user experience, so how you developed and improved the functionalities of Unleash?
We have a very clear separation. We have a very, call it API first design. So everything that you can do in the Unleash management UI, you can also do through APIs. So that is a super friendly thing to do or super developer friendly stuff. So you can think of Unleash consist of 3 core components. It's the SDK. So this is the kind of the library that you as a developer bring into your application in order to have this capability available. You have the backend API, or the Unleash API. This is basically the core logic. This is the kind of the engine that runs it all. And on top of the API, we have this management UI. This is where you as a developer, maybe a product owner, maybe a product manager, you access this, you configure the feature management or the feature. And this is where you can say, I want to make this new feature available only for 1%, 10%, or specific cohorts of your users. And when you do this and push it and make it available, it's pushed all the way out to or sent all the way out to the SDKs, and the SDK happens to do all of the magic there to do what you wanted to do. And this is also, from a performance and resilience point of view, super important, because when you design huge applications for like massive usage, you need to think about where is your scaling unit. How do you scale your application when the traffic scales, when there is like going from 1 million requests a day to 10 million, 100 million, maybe more a day, or peaks of multiple hundreds, maybe millions a second, maybe. You need to start looking, how do you scale that? Because you cannot have like one bottleneck. So we have decided to put all of this into the application. So we scale with your application. There is no round trip going back to our service in order to execute. Everything happens locally as the SDK. And so far, it seems like this scales super well with all of the use cases we have seen.
Awesome. So tell me about the data management and the information transfer and the time management when it comes to Unleash.
Yeah. Yeah, where should we start on that? Where should I start? So one of the things that we do, and I'm not sure if I really properly answer your question, but let me know if I'm not. When we, one of the fundamental challenges you have with feature toggles is, well, one of the things you want to do is that you want to go away from feature branches in your source code, because merging feature branches takes a lot of time. Usually that is a lot of merge conflict. That's something I guess most developers recognize. So you wanna move towards a main trunk development. And main trunk development, how we see it, basically means everybody works out of main, and if you have feature branches that are super short-lived, and you try to push main trunk to production at any time. So when you do the feature toggles, what you actually do is that you sort of introduces this complexity after you went to production, which is actually not a good thing. It's because you have multiple execution paths in production. And this is not a good thing for you, because you don't want to, I mean, at least I think that software and source code should be as simple as possible. It should not, I mean, we are simple-minded people, at least I'm a very simple-minded guy. So have it too complex always makes it difficult to kind of understand. So keep it simple. And by having feature toggles, you actually have at least two code paths that can be executed. So we actually think that feature toggles are technical debt, and this is why this mining come into play. Because what we are saying is that feature management of feature toggle like Unleash makes a tons of sense when you want to release a new feature, or if you want to maybe have like a kill switch in your code that you can easily degrade a part of the application gently, when it have a very given or very specific purpose that you want to run. But soon as that purpose is not longer valid, you probably want to clean that up, right? So then you want to remove it, and you want to decide, am I doing this or the other? And so the mining, some of the mining we are doing is that we are supporting our users to look into what is the lifetime of a feature toggle. When should you start to consider to remove a feature toggle? When should you start cleaning up your code to keep it and make it stay as simple and healthy as possible? And this is where we have implemented processes in our system. So it sort of look at all of the feature toggles that is in the system. It monitors when was it live, is it any application connected to it, when was it last updated, is there kind of anything happening, and it keeps that information, and it measures that towards, call it, some internal studies that we done on our customers to see what is the average lifetime and see these kind of things. And simply presenting that as a tech debt dashboard, a very simple list of these are the feature toggles, seems to be healthy, everything's good, great for you. These are the feature toggles that maybe you want to consider to remove. So that is one example of some of the data mining we are doing.
So who do you think that are going to connect with the product that you created, and who are going to get benefit because of the product that you created?
Yeah, we are focusing a lot of effort, as you understand, on developers. I truly believe software developers get a lot of benefit using Unleash. We think of, you know, software developers. I would love I was a software developer. I try to be a software developer. I'm just not, that is not my biggest talent involved. But we have, and I have tons of respect of software developers, really bright people. And I think that also software developers are want to create something that is meaningful, that makes sense in the software. They really want to make something that is good for the application. So what we are trying to give or provide a value to the developers is a very nice and simple way of having the function, the possibility to do this experimentation, learning, risk reduction, also because it's a lot of risk doing software development. You know, I mean, you are creating important systems for the users. It might be, you know, online banking. It might be backend systems for a company, and all these kind of things. And if you do mistakes, of course, that makes a ton of difference. So what we want to do is to create this way of working, or support this way of working for developers, where you can have this freedom to create and be creative, but at the same time take away that big risk that if you do some mistake, because everybody does mistake, the impact is so limited that you can kind of accept that it's something you can manage, and and hopefully it's not going to be anything else than a good learning experience.
So tell me about the achievements of Unleash.
Sorry, of
The achievements of Unleash.
the achievement.
Yes.
Yes. I think it's a great achievement to see the numbers that we are looking at. I mean, last week we passed 5.7 million Docker pulls. It's not exactly the same as downloads, but it's pretty close. So it shows a great momentum there. As far as we can tell, there's nobody in the open source space doing feature management tooling that is even close. Also, I'm very happy to see the number of stars. I mean, 4,000 stars is a good start. I would love it to be at least a double. So if there's any of your viewers want to take a look and like the product and the project, I would be super happy to see some stars coming. Also, if we look at the SDKs, we see that there is some good momentum going there. I mean, Ruby, I can't remember on the Ruby stack. I think we are close to 8 million downloads so far. Biggest in the market, bigger than the big players and the commercial players as well. We are gaining a lot of momentum in .NET. We are seeing strong position in Java, Node. Python is growing really good at the moment. So I think the biggest achievements that we are very proud of is this, I would say, recognition of developers wanting to test it, wanting to download it, start to use it, play with it, see if there is something that they can use this for. That is something that makes us a lot of, we are very proud of that.
The number itself says the quality of work that you are doing, and I can understand how good your team is because of the number that I'm hearing from you.
Yeah, agreed. I think that is getting this kind of feedback and recognition is absolutely good, and it's very honest. You know, it's very transparent and honest. If we are not making something that makes sense and nobody cares about, nobody wants to spend a time on it, and then everything stops. So it's a good way to get the recognition, I guess.
So from where this growth mindset is coming from? So understanding the market strategy or the networks which are already there in the market, or what do you think that is working for the development? Because it's not a very big time. You got a good success. So what do you think that is working? And I know you will say that this is achievement of the major role is the developers who played. But what do you think the exact thing? Because it's not very easy for in this competitive market to be successful. So you are doing that. So what do you think that is the main things that are working for you and that is making you to be on that position?
Yeah, I think it's actually two parts. I want to also take the opportunity to be honest and transparent, saying that I think that one of the drivers is that I think we are offering a way of working for software developers that makes a lot of sense. So it's not only we, but this way of working makes sense. So this is also, we see, let's call it a growing market. There is more and more customers, more and more software companies that is starting to use more DevOps practices because it's proven by industry, by experience, that DevOps, continuous deliveries, makes a lot of sense in how we want to develop software. So I think that is a good supporting driver for everybody in this space, including us. Where we are making a difference, or what we do that is allowing us this being this successful, I think it's a combination of, we have been around, so there is a history. There has been, over the years, been built a lot of trust. I think when you add that level of trust into the team is extremely focused on solving the need of this software developer and making the software or the developer experience as good as absolutely possible. I think that is a very good next part of creating something that is successful. Always keep the customer and how you kind of solve the issue or the pain of the customer, and how you do that. That's super important to keep that at the highest priority. And I think also it's fair to say that the team brings a lot of experience from the industry as well. Everybody on the team has multiple years of experience working in this space, gain a lot of hands-on experience, knowledge on what is a good way of working, what is a good processes, how do this work. So I think that we are able to, by having this experience on board, to kind of combine the tool with how you work, because I think you can never look at one of them independently. If you only look at a tool, it's really hard to get and achieve what we're trying to achieve here, because what we are trying to achieve is basically freedom for developers, or maybe call it like a buzzword, developer efficiency. So in order to make that successful, you need to understand how is software development, what is kind of good ways of making software. It's never the case that it's only one way, but it's sort of some characteristics that kind of repeats itself and that you want to look for. And some examples of those characteristics are, if you are capable of doing multiple releases to production every day, usually that is a good sign that there is something good happening in the team and they are doing something good for how they do business, software development. Also, we know that if you want to do multiple releases to production every day, you probably want to have a highly automated pipeline. So it means that time from commit to production usually is quite quick. You cannot have like weeks of QA testing if you want to go to production every day. It's like it doesn't make sense. It's counterintuitive. And these are just some of the examples of the characteristics that we keep in mind, and we are very focused around how we operate to do our absolutely best to create this best developer tool in this space.
So last thing is the customer support and the communication medium to Unleash.
Yeah.
Tell me about these.
Yes. Unleash, as I said, it is an open source. We have a Slack community, so everybody's welcome to the Slack. Usually you get some kind of response within 24 hours in the Slack, so it's quite active, really good. We have, of course, a GitHub project, so that is also a source of communication to the team, so they're to respond to pull requests or issues and others on the GitHub project. On the commercial offering, we also have more kind of traditional SLAs and support agreements. So we have a support team that is taking care of that. And that is primarily channeled, of course, through ticketing system like email. But we see that the Slack community is quite active. It's a very good way for both the team and the community and users to get some feedback, get some kind of communication or dialogue going if there is any issues. So we try to be very available. But I would say GitHub project, the Slack, and of course for paying customers, ticketing through support emails is the key areas. And we are on Twitter, of course, and LinkedIn as well.
So if you send me the contact details and the links or the web links of yours, I'll put in the description of this video. People who finds our video on YouTube from anywhere on this planet can use the services that you're providing and can be the part of your development and can develop themselves by using your services.
That would be, of course, and I'm looking forward to get some feedback from your viewers on Unleash. I would love to get some feedback on that.
Sure. So at last, what do you say about my questioning, my technical knowledge in this video, and my questioning, and at the same time my communication skills? And what do you say about my performance as a CEO of a company as a CEO of Unleash. What do you say about my performance?
In this session,
Yes.
I think you demonstrate strong technical understanding. I think you are demonstrating that you are well prepared for putting me on the sort of the mix of a bit of a hard spot, but also a nice spot. So it has been a very pleasant conversation. I think that it's I'm really happy to see how well you listen. I think listening skills is super important as well in these conversations. So well done, I would say.
So, and also, have you seen any videos of mine on YouTube, or have you listened any podcast? Have you seen videos of mine, and what do you say about it? What is your observation on it? Me talking with different country people who are into different professions and who are into for technologists and who are into IT industry for 10, 20 plus years and sharing their skills. And what do you think that helps people who are watching it and also helps for me knowing about this and putting it in public platforms? So what do you think about this observation?
No, I think it's good. I was watching a few videos just to prepare for this. Again, I think it's your style is something I like. I think you should keep doing that. It's a sort of a mix, if I may say, between this a bit informal, but also demonstrating your skills and insight in this space. I think that is really good. I like this informal way of doing it. It seems like people having fun. I see smiling faces and laugh, people laughing, and I think that is important. I think that it's always important to identify topics that is relevant to the users. And as far as I can tell, you are more than capable of doing so. So no, I think it's a show well prepared, and you know I guess there is so much going on. There are so many topics out there that people are looking for people like yourself to kind of navigate and looking for what should I know about and what should I learn more about and kind of get this call them filter or support on identifying what to look into next. Does it make sense?
Yeah, I got you. So yeah, thanks for your observation. So thank you very much, sir, for giving me your valuable time and spending your valuable experience, and at the same time telling about the services that you're providing and how your company works and how it is developed in since the years. So I'm sure people who are watching and listening to this will connect with what you said, and I'm sure you're going to be one of the biggest uh, uh, people in the world in the tech industry.
Thank you. And I'm so honored to be on your show. It's been a pleasure.
Can I put this video on my YouTube channel with your permission?
Yes, of course.
And also, can I put this video and audio clip on my podcast, website, internet, social media, everywhere with your permission?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
And
Keep going,
please,
keep doing. Yeah.
please send me the link to your show, and we can also push it through our social media.
Yeah, I will definitely after editing it, I'll send it to you. Yeah.
Super. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Keep going, keep doing the great work that you're doing.
Yeah, likewise. When do you think this will be available on your platform?
Tomorrow or day after tomorrow in India time.
Super. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay. It was great talking to you.
Take care, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.